Okay, I think we got it working now. Let me just double check. Technology is not on my side tonight. Let me see. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you guys can see me. Let me know because I don't know. It's not showing up on my end. I just want to make sure you guys can actually see me before I get started. Don't want to be on here talking to myself. I don't know where this live is. Let me check another thing. Are you guys able to see me? If you're on here, let me know if you can see me. Um, because I don't see. It says that I'm live, but I don't see anything. Okay, here it is. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Sorry, guys. I had to end the last one, so I'm restarting. Um, Restarting the live. Thank you, Cornell. Thank you so much. I didn't want to be on here talking to myself. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I've shared it out. So happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy hump day. Tonight we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about 7 things that I've learned in the last 7 years since running this platform. Um, BWAZ has been around since 2016. And so we're officially 7 years old. The platform was created back in September of 2016. So it's been a long road. There's been a lot of lessons learned. So I just want to kind of go through that with you guys tonight. And um, hopefully you can take away something from this live if you're um, a business owner or if you're looking to create your own type of platform. This would be a good live where we kind of dive into some different things. So hello, good evening, good night. My name is Fady. I'm the CEO and founder of Black Women of Arizona. As I stated, we've been around since 2016. I've hosted events in Tucson, Buckeye, Gilbert. I think I did Maricopa a couple times. So I've been almost around the entire valley. Still haven't made it to Flagstaff yet, but hopefully that'll be something that we could do in the near future. So I'm going to just be breaking down some of the lessons that I learned, some of the quote unquote failures that I've had to grow through. And if you have any questions or anything you want to share while I'm on here, feel free to put them in the comments below. Or if you feel like this live might be useful to someone else, be sure to tag them or share the video out. The replay will be on our YouTube channel as well. Last week I went live and I was talking about leaning into your disadvantage. And so that is one of the lessons that I've learned since running this platform is just learning how to lean into your disadvantage. So I don't want to go too far into that again, because if that's something you want to kind of know more about, you can check the replay. It's somewhere on the Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. But on that live, I was basically talking about how you can basically use whatever disadvantage you might be going through or a disadvantage you have gone through, how you can take that and turn it into something else, right? Turning it into your purpose, your passion, or essentially a disadvantage. So basically on that live, I basically talked about basically a different perspective, right? A lot of things that we feel are disadvantages are things that might actually help us to start walking in our purpose and to essentially find our passion. So on that live, I talked about what my disadvantages were. So for a lot of people, they assume that I'm actually from Arizona. I'm actually not. So when I moved to Arizona back in 2014, 2015, maybe, I was moving to Arizona from Florida. That's where I was born and raised. So I moved to Florida. I moved to Arizona, the other side of the country, with no family and no friends. And being that I'm from the East Coast, but then I also have the Haitian culture, and then I also have the Southern culture, right? So it was a different culture. I'm from a different state, a different coast, and I didn't have any family or friends here, right? So those were some of my disadvantages. And the way that I was able to lean into that was basically connecting with other women who were in sort of like a similar situation. They moved from a different state here. They don't have any family, or they have very little family here, and they don't really have friends here. So the way that I was able to lean into that was just being able to connect with those women. We shared similar goals, and that's how we've been able to grow this platform to where it is. So that is the first lesson that I learned, is just learning how to lean into my disadvantages. The second lesson I've learned is taking imperfect action, right? So being that I wasn't from this state, I didn't really, I never had really hosted any events. I never ran a women's platform before. It was all new territory for me, literally in every sense of the word. But instead of waiting until I got things perfect, I just went ahead and decided to take imperfect action. And so what that looks like is just starting, is just doing it, right? A lot of people that I talk to about starting different, either a different business, a new hobby, or learning something, it's always some type of blockage that takes place where I feel like I have to, I have to do this first. I have to do that. I have to look a certain way. I have to, be a certain age. I have to do all of these things before I can actually get started. Now, I'm not saying to just close your eyes, wake up tomorrow, and go full force with it, but take that first imperfect step, right? Just go ahead and get started. Part of taking imperfect action is failing forward, right? So failing forward basically means that you are going to have trip ups, you are going to have situations that come up, but instead of looking at those things as failures or as you failing at something, look at it as a learning opportunity, right? So I want to share with you some of my most memorable failures that I've had since running this platform and hosting various events. The very first, I think this was the very first private brunch that I hosted. I did it in it was somewhat, I guess you could say somewhat northern, not northern, somewhat central Phoenix. I went to check out the venue. The lady who was working there didn't speak much English, so that there was definitely a language barrier there. And then literally the day of my event, people are walking in, vendors are setting up, my speakers are there, my caterer is there, everyone is there, and they're sitting down at the tables, right? And for whatever reason, I still don't know to this day, for whatever reason, the lady who was working the venue to wash the chairs the night before. So what that looked like for me, not knowing that she decided to wash the chairs the night before, is that literally all of the chairs were still wet. The cushions were wet in the seat. And so that was something that I had to sort of improvise on, right? Because I wasn't expecting it. And at the time, obviously, when you're going through certain situations, you look at it and it's like, the world is ending. I was really upset about it. I think I cried a couple times about it. But it was one of those things that, okay, you went through that. What can you learn from this situation to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? So that was a learning opportunity for me, making sure that I don't host events anymore where the guests have to sit in wet seats, right? Hi, Bree. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So that was one of the most memorable learning moments. I don't want to say failure. I'm going to say learning moments. That was one of the most memorable learning moments for me. The other one, I think I talked about on a live that I did maybe about a month ago now, where we had the caterer We by this time I had I don't think I had did I have contracts in place? I don't remember, but by this time I had made some adjustments, right? I've made some adjustments, but again, we're talking about failing forward. So we're never going to get to a moment where we know everything and we can anticipate everything, right? But this was around the time that I was starting to get more hands-on with hiring people. So this caterer, I did a tasting with this caterer. We talked about the menu. We talked about the itinerary and all of those things. And if you remember my first live when I was talking about this, we went over the situation with the plates, right? I told her that I didn't want my guests to be served on paper plates. I told her in advance, if you're not able to get the plates, let me know. I will get them. If you're not sure where to get them, this is where you can go to get them. So we literally had a in-depth conversation about the plates. And again, it sounds very dramatic. It sounds like maybe, it's not a big deal, but it is, right? Because people don't buy into products or services or events. They buy into experiences, right? So it was a certain experience that I was trying to provide with for my event guests, and paper plates just wasn't going to fit what I was trying to accomplish for that event, right? But nonetheless, she came with the paper plates, ended up coming late, brought extra family members. They were drinking in the kitchen. They started arguing. It almost turned into a fight. I had to serve my one of my event speakers on a ripped up to-go plate because the paper plates she brought weren't even enough. But again, this was a learning lesson for me in making sure that when I'm hiring people, going through a more in-depth vetting process, right? Because I had started to do that, but again, I realized after that situation happened, the takeaway for me was that I need to be more involved. I probably need to go with people who are a little bit more experienced in that field with handling that amount of guests, because I want to say for that event, I want to say we had about 60 to 80 women for that event. And this was the biggest event that they've ever catered to, right? And at that time, that was the biggest event that I've ever hosted. So it was a lot of new territory for everyone involved. And so after that situation happened, I took it as a learning opportunity. Like, okay, I need to be more in depth. I need to create a more structured vetting process for the people that I hire. And in the end, it ended up costing me some money on the back end because we didn't start on time because she came late. The time that I had the venue for had to be extended. And so this isn't to say that this is going to be the situation with every new professional that you come in contact with, but it is something to still consider. And that's why sometimes, and I've learned this the hard way, going the cheap route ends up costing you more in the long run. So being cheap is very expensive. Just speaking from experience. So that was one of the other learning opportunities that I had. One of the other most memorable opportunities that I had. The third one was the travel agent from hell. Not going to go too much in detail for that, but I hired this person to provide a service. Didn't find out that the service wasn't being provided literally until the day of, when I'm walking into the venue. So again, this for that specific situation, it taught me not to be led by emotions, right? If we have, and I talked about this in a live that I did earlier, if you're going into business with people that you know personally, or if they're your friends or even family members and stuff like that, you have to be very strategic with operating a dual relationship, right? And I'll talk about that a little later on, but those are my top three most memorable learning moments that I've had over the last 7 years. Now, obviously, there's been other things in between that, but those are literally the most memorable ones. And they were really, really big learning opportunities for me. And another thing I want to say before I move on to the next lesson here is that a lot of times, as business owners, as leaders, as people that other people look to for support for whatever reason, a lot of times we go through these things and we're not really able to talk about it, because on one hand, we don't want to seem unprofessional, but then we don't want to seem like a bully either, like we're, bashing another business or whatever the case might be. So a lot of these things, if you're a business owner who's watching this live, I'm sure that there's a lot of learning moments that you have gone through yourself, and maybe it doesn't make a Facebook post, it doesn't make it on social media or whatever the case might be, but whatever situation that you have gone through as a leader or as a business owner, I want to encourage you not to look at it as a failure, but to look at it as a learning opportunity. Because for me, if I didn't go through these situations, there were things that I would not have implemented, because I wouldn't have known better, right? So take them as learning opportunities and continue to push forward. There's a lot of other situations that have happened over the last 7 years. These are just probably the most memorable ones, but I've never gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm shutting it down, I'm stopping completely, I'm never hosting another event anymore, whatever the case might be. So you go through the situation, you learn from it, and you grow, you make changes, and you keep pushing, right? So the other lesson that I have is the importance of tools and automation. So one of the things that I started to do very late in the game, because BWA has been around since 2016. I don't think I started an email list until like 2018 or 19. And so 2018 or 19, as far as like a real system, a real tool that I can use to email the people on my email list. Literally what I was doing before that, I had a spreadsheet of all of the people that signed up for the email list. I would go into my Gmail and literally send emails out. I think I could do them in a bulk of like 90 people at a time, and that's how I was sending them. So implementing tools and automation just within this platform has been a lifesaver. Like I have a couple tools that I'm gonna be talking about shortly here, but it has really helped me with saving time. It removes room for error. Not to say that technology is always going to be working, right? Because we have an example tonight. I had to restart my live, but when you're doing things manually and you run into potential burnout, right? You're tired, you're frustrated, you're just trying to get it over with. So a lot of times that leaves room for more error if you're trying instead of putting it into a tool or some type of automation software. And then also, another thing that I had to learn is that I don't want to spend too much of my time doing things that aren't generating money for me. And so this is one of the things that I also talk to my LCSW clients about when they're starting their private practice. A lot of times we're spending time doing admin work, but the admin work isn't necessarily yielding money, right? It's just things that we have to do. So outsourcing or getting some tools or automation in your business is a lifesaving. So if you haven't done it yet, you can grab a quick pen and paper. I have some tools that I'm going to be reading off to you guys. These are things that I've used in the past that I recommend or that I'm still currently using. So the first thing is GoDaddy for domain hosting for your .com or .org or .net, whatever the case might be. GoDaddy is I like GoDaddy. It's pretty affordable, just depending on what you're getting. I think they start at like $20 a month, $20 to $30 a month not a month, I'm sorry, $20 or $30 per year. Sorry guys, not per month, per year. Another one is Wix. So for the BWA website and for my consulting business website, I created those two websites. I also created a website for one of my LCSW clients. So I'm not a website designer, but I like Wix because for me, it's pretty user-friendly. They have templates already set up in there. So you just kind of copy and paste whatever information you want to put in there, and you can have a full-blown site. And it's good if you're just starting off and you're not in the position to invest in a website designer. But quick side note, if you have any recommendation for website designers, please put them down below, because I'm tired of trying to create websites. Okay, so GoDaddy for domain hosting, Wix for website design, Canva if you are I don't even want to say a business owner. If you're a creative and really in any industry, Canva needs to be in your toolbox. Like, I think they have a monthly plan for like $13 a month, and then for the year, I think it's $120. I've created ebooks on there. You can create obviously social media posts. You can create videos, I've been using Canva for a while, and I still haven't really tapped into its full capacity. But there's a lot of things that you can do on Canva. You can actually create. And I don't know if they call it a website, but you can actually create sort of like a landing page through Canva as well. I did it a couple years back. And again, it's similar to Wix. They have the templates already in there. You just kind of plug in your information and go, or you can design things from scratch. They also have an app. So, use Canva. Another one is G Suite. So again, like I was saying before, when I first actually started connecting with subscribers outside of like social media, like through email lists, I was using a regular Gmail. And one of the things that I don't think a lot of people know is that when you're using these free or personal email domains, they limit the amount of emails that you could send out. And sometimes some of those emails go to spam, just depending on how many you're sending out at a time. I've went through situations where Gmail actually blocked me for like 24 hours because I was trying to send like 900 people emails, right? So the professional email is the way to go. I think G Suite starts at like $6 a month. And it's just more professional, guys. I mean, it's $6 a month. It's it's not going to break the bank. It's a great investment for your company. And with G Suite, you can also create different aliases instead of buying additional domains. So the aliases, like if you want info@mywebsite.com, CEO@mywebsite.com, legal@mywebsite.com, you can create those aliases inside of G Suite for no additional fee. Now, I don't know if that's recently changed, but as far as I know, you can create, I don't want to say unlimited, but I will say you can create aliases through G Suite. So that way you're not having to purchase additional emails. It still all goes to the same thing. And if you have Gmail, G Suite looks just like Gmail, right? You just have a little bit more flexibility and a few more like extra features. Another feature, and I don't know if this is available in the personal emails, but I know in G Suite you also have templates, right? So for me, I send a lot. I get a lot of the same emails sometimes. So instead of having to type it out every single time, there's literally an option there where you click, you select the template you want to use, they plug it in, and you just send it out. So those little things, guys, will make a big difference as far as just decreasing the amount of time you're spending on this type of like admin stuff. So G Suite for professional email. I've used a couple different email marketing softwares. My favorite, I think, yeah, it's safe to say my favorite is MailerLite. MailerLite lets you, it gives you a free account if you have, I want to say, less than 500 subscribers. So MailerLite is how I connect with my email subscribers. And obviously they have different tiers just depending on how many subscribers you have. But they're pretty affordable. They're pretty affordable because I think if you go up to 5,000 subscribers, I want to say it's about $30 a month. So MailerLite, I don't want to turn this into a business live, but I just want to kind of break down some of the features that these tools have, so that if you guys are interested in using any of these tools, you know what the hell you're using them for, right? So for MailerLite, I send emails out to my subscribers. It lets me create different automations, right? Depending on what list my subscriber is on. So I have like a general email list. I have a email list specifically for my event speakers or anyone who's interested in ever being a speaker at one of my events. That's why you don't see me post about needing event speakers anymore, right? I just draft the email, I send it out, they apply, and then that's it, right? So those are the little things that I'm talking about as far as time, as far as helping you save time. So I have one for my event speakers. I have one for event vendors. If anyone's interested in ever being a vendor at an upcoming event, I create the email and I send it out. If they're if they signed up for the email list through the Facebook group, if they signed up through the email list through our meetup group, right? So those different lists allow me to kind of curate the specific emails that are being sent out to those specific people. And then, of course, I can control how often those emails get sent out. If I'm doing sort of like a sequence of emails, I can create the emails, determine how much time I want between before the next email gets sent out. I can send them out based on conditions, right? If they open the email but they don't click anything, if they don't open the email, those, like, you can get really in depth with how you stay in contact with your tribe, with your community outside of Facebook. And I know it doesn't happen very often, but we've all experienced times when Facebook and Instagram have gone down. So we want to make sure we're still staying in contact with our supporters, right? Because sometimes I've gone a couple months, not saying you should do this, but I've gone a couple months without posting anything on social media, but I was still in contact with my email list, right? Because I still want them to know that I'm here. I still want them to know, even if I don't have anything going on at the moment, I still want them to know what I'm working on, what's coming up, whatever the case might be. So MailerLite is a really good software for emails. Another one is a Flowdesk. I've used that in the past. I didn't use it for an extensive amount of time, but it did seem good for the time that I had it. I did use Constant Contact for quite some time. It was okay. Nothing, I just like, I think when I first started, because I was using Constant Contact, I didn't really know all of the ins and outs and stuff. And so now that I've learned a little bit more about email lists and marketing and all of that type of stuff, I'm able to use more features that are available to me on MailerLite because I know about them now, right? But there's tons of different ones out there. I think I've used MailChimp before. I wasn't a fan of MailChimp at all, but MailChimp is also one as well. Okay, another tool is Termly, Termley. This is a good resource or tool if you are a business owner and you actually have a website, but you don't have like a privacy policy, you don't have terms and conditions or disclaimers or stuff like that. This website gives you one free policy. The other ones you have to pay for, and I'm not sure how much the fee is for that. But Termly, Termly, they give you those policies. You enter in some information about your business, what type of website it is, what type of business it is, what state the business is located in, and it helps you create those types of different policies. Now, I'm not here to give you legal advice. I'm not saying to use that in place of, consulting with a business attorney to see what specific, what specific information needs to be listed in your policy. But if you're someone who's just looking for resources or just starting off, that is a good tool to use. Another one that I've been using for a while now is Jotform. Jotform is amazing. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's really, really good. My LCSW clients use it as well. If you are in more like a profession that requires you to be HIPAA compliant, they do have HIPAA compliant plans. But I use JotForm to send out contracts. If for my event speakers, for my vendors, yeah, anything contract related, I use JotForm because it's all done online, right? The person that I'm sending it to, they don't have to print anything out. They don't have to fax anything over. They complete it online. They you know, sign their name, whatever. When they complete it, they hit the submit button. I get notification that it's been submitted, and I just kind of go through and get all of that information from there. You can also collect payments through JotForm as well. So I guess it's, if I had to compare it to something, it might be comparable to maybe DocuSign. But I've never really used, I've used DocuSign, but not in my business. But I like JotForm. Another one is Trello project management. If you're someone who is working with different members, or if you have like a team of people that you work with, Trello is really good to assign tasks, make sure they're completed. I first used Trello when I was at a internship for a law firm. They introduced me to it, and I've loved it ever since. So I actually helped one of my LCSW clients implement that into her business. We use it for her VA, her other providers, if there's anything that they need to turn in. They have the app, they have it on desktop. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other, because those were the only ones that actually wrote down that I specifically wanted to talk about. I'm trying to think if there's any other honorable mentions that I wanted to go over. No, I think, I'm going to mention Eventbrite because I don't think a lot of people understand the different features that are available with Eventbrite. And even still, for me, I haven't tapped into all of the features that are available. But Eventbrite is a platform that you can use to sell tickets for your events. If you've ever been to any of my events for the last probably year, well, no, let's say 2 years or so, 99% of my events are through Eventbrite. The reason why I like Eventbrite is because I get all of the RSVPs in one place. It lets me know how many tickets I've sold, how many I have left. It lets me create like a custom URL for my event. It helps me ask questions from the people purchasing tickets for my event. So, if they're like for the meet and greet, which if you haven't bought a ticket yet, please do so. But for like the meet and greet, if you purchase a ticket, it asks you, are you purchasing a ticket for someone else? Yes or no, right? What are the food options that you're interested in? Whatever the case might be. Another thing, if you are a business owner, I'm gonna let you know right now, always include this because people will not read. But one of the questions that I always ask for my events before they can even purchase a ticket is if they, I've read and understood the FAQ section and the refund policy, because people, for whatever reason, people buy things, people sign up for things, people sign contracts, they do things without reading. So just as a way to protect myself, I put that on there. It's required. They're not able to move forward if they don't agree to it. And if they say no, they haven't read it, then a little pop-up shows up on the screen where it actually goes through the FAQ section again. And so that's another reason why I really like Eventbrite. You can, as a event host, you can pick, you can choose when your payouts are, if you want them on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Obviously, you can select the account that the money goes to. You can send personalized email reminders. So if you ever been to any of my events for the last couple of years ago, I usually send reminders about the different events that I'm hosting. And because Eventbrite will do one automatically like 2 days before your event, right? And it's really generic, and it's something that basically says, reminder for so and so event, and then they give you like the little barcode for your event ticket. But for my events, a lot of times, if there's additional information that I need to tell you about, right? So because I'm able to personalize those emails, I'm able to send out the itinerary, the menu options, if there's anything about parking for my vendors, what time they need to come and set up. So I'm able to send out those personalized emails. And again, I could automate them to send them out at a specific time. So for like right now, just using the meet and greet as an example, because that's the one coming up. I created the emails. They're scheduled to be sent out automatically, I think, for my guests, like 1 hour before the event start time, and I think like the day before, or like 8 hours before. So I set them up to do like a reminder, a final reminder. I do the same thing for my vendors and for my speakers. So I've seen a lot of different events taking place through Phoenix. I haven't seen a lot of people utilizing these features. So yeah, use them. They're there. They don't cost you anything, and as long as you're not being spammy with your emails, you're good to go. Bree, this is good. Great information shares on creating such a space. Thank you so much, Bree. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm really staying on these tools, but I'm glad you guys are finding it useful. So Eventbrite, I don't use anything else for my events as of right now, because there's other platforms out there. I think I'm just comfortable with Eventbrite. I like all of the different features that are available on there as well. Okay, so I think those are all my tools. If you guys have any questions about any other tools that I may be able to recommend, you could put them in the comment section below. I can't think of anything else, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I included Eventbrite on here. Another thing when we talk about like importance of tools and automation is scheduling like your social media content. So like if you have a Facebook group, you can actually go in there when you're creating a post. You should see like a little calendar icon. You can schedule your post in your group. You can do the same thing for your business if you have a Facebook business page and if you have an Instagram business page. I do that all the time. I set a specific day each week, and I plan out all of the social media content that I'm going to be sharing for that week. I go in and I plug it in. So I think to get there, it's business.facebook.com. And then it opens up to sort of like a planner or a calendar almost. And you can pick, if you're like a business owner or a content creator who shares different type of contents between Facebook and Instagram, you can pick whether you want it to go to both of the pages or just one of your pages. But that has been a really great resource for me, because I'm not constantly stuck on my computer trying to make sure I post content. Quick side note, going back to Canva really quickly, if you use Canva, after you design whatever you're designing on Canva, on the computer, I don't think this feature is available on your phone, but on the computer, there's a option towards the bottom left side that says notes. You could click on that, and for me, I use that little notepad there to create my caption for social media. So that way, because at first, again, when I was doing things manually, I was literally typing it in as a note on my phone, or I had this I wish I can show it to you guys. I don't know where it is now, but I had literally this huge packet of like the different days of the week and what I would post on that day and what caption I wanted to use for it. But you can create the design and use the note option in Canva to save your caption. And then so that way, when you go into the Facebook Business Suite thing, whatever it's called, you can kind of just copy and paste the information from there. Canva, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't used this feature yet, but I believe you can actually schedule social media posts directly from Canva. I haven't used it, but I think you can. So, I just want to give you guys these. I want to make sure I go over these features because there might be some of you that don't know they're available, right? Okay, so that is it for tools and automation. If you have any questions about anything I went through, or if you want me to type them in the comments, let me know. The next lesson that I want to talk about, as far as the 7 lessons I've learned in the last 7 years, is the importance of contracts. I feel like I talk about contracts every time I go live with you guys, but they're really, really important, you guys. It's not just a piece of paper. If you are drafting them up correctly, they are a legally binding document, right? But they're very important, just to make sure that the explanation of services and responsibilities are clear on both ends, right? Or things like timeframes, expectations, payments, deposits, penalties. And then it also helps set boundaries. So when I create my contracts, when I send my contracts out for my vendors and my speakers, it has a section of the things that I'm supposed to do and the things that they're supposed to do, right? So that way everyone is aware of what their roles are and nobody is confused, right? Nobody has to go above and beyond. This is what you're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. You sign it and we are in agreement. If you have any questions, you reach out to me, but it helps set boundaries. Now, the only thing with contracts, which I think I've said before, is if you are sending these contracts out and people are signing them, but you're not enforcing the information in the contract, then the contract does you no good, right? So make sure whatever you're putting into your contracts, you're actually enforcing, because what happens when you make an exception, it becomes the standard. Okay. And I'm telling you this because I've learned, even if I usually do it this way, but I'm going to do it a little different just for them, or because I know them, or because we're cool, or because whatever the case might be. When you make those exceptions, they become the standard and they become the expectation. So just don't put yourself in that situation, okay? If you have a contract, stick to it, but it's up to you to enforce it or not. But I definitely recommend enforcing it. The next thing is working with others. Now, even though I know a few minutes ago I shared to you guys some of my more top 3 most memorable learning moments for me, I still would recommend working with others, right? I never want to be doing any kind of business on my own. And honestly, this type of platform doesn't work if I'm trying to do it on my own, right? But I always recommend working with others. Now, with that being said, I covered this in another live. When we talk about working with others, make sure you're creating and growing fruitful relationships, right? And what I mean by fruitful is making sure that the relationship is beneficial for everyone involved. Some of you guys want to connect with people and I don't even want to say make friends with people. You want to connect with people, but when you connect with them, you're pitching them something, but it only benefits you, right? It doesn't help the other party involved for whatever reason. So make sure that it's mutually beneficial. And that might look different just depending on your industry or what it is you're trying to create, right? Some people will let you barter, right? Maybe a service for service type thing, but make sure it's mutually beneficial for everyone. Don't be trying to reach out to people to get one over on them or for a quick come up for yourself and leave the other person. I had to catch myself, I almost cussed, but leave the other person behind, right? Because it's not fair. And sometimes the bridges we burn today may be things that we need for tomorrow, right? So we always want to make sure that the relationships we're building are mutually beneficial. We also want to make sure we're in a position to receive help. Okay, because I went through a situation. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but I went through a situation a few months back with a leader, and I was becoming a part of their organization, and the leader had a problem because they felt like I was trying to show off, or like I was like overstepping or doing too much. And we had a very intense conversation, and I had to communicate with her that I'm not here to step on your toes. I'm not here to take over. You said that you needed help with these types of things. If I don't tell you the things that I'm capable of, how are you able to receive that help, right? You said you need help with this. I tell you I can help you. So don't push that help away, right? So sometimes we say that we want help and we want to build a team and we want people, we want to build a tribe, a community of people and resources and stuff, but we're self-sabotaging, right? We receive the help, but then we push it away, right? And make sure you're going into it with good intentions, right? So if you say you want someone to help you, don't make it all about yourself. One of the ladies that I've been working with for years now, she came to an event. I think she had literally just moved to Arizona, like less than a month, right? She came to the event. And the way she approached me, guys, I literally thought I knew this lady from somewhere and I just couldn't place her. But she was really, really friendly. And she was like, let me know if you need help with anything. And even though I was drowning, right? I was drowning in just like the back end processes of running BWA. I was like, okay, but I never reached out. I kept trying to do everything on my own. And then she came to another event and she was basically like, Faye, what are you doing? I said, I can help you. Let me help you. And when she said that, I was like, okay. And so sometimes, again, self-sabotage, because she was there to help me. I need to be in a place where I'm receptive to receiving the help, right? Receptive to receiving the help. You guys get what I'm saying, right? So you got to be open to receiving the help that you say that you want. And so I decided to take a chance on her, and it's been good ever since. And I don't have any complaints. And I'm so grateful for her help, because a lot of the things that I've been able to do on this platform is because I have that help now, right? And so that's why I'm, even regardless of whatever situations have happened in the past, I'm always open to getting more people on my team who understand the goal, who support the vision, not me, but the vision, people who support the vision, because I know that where BWA has gotten now was because of help. And for the next 7 years, wherever this platform is going, it's going to get there because of the help that I receive, right? So make sure that you're open to actually receiving help. Another thing is collaboration over competition. There's a lot of things that I observe in the Phoenix streets that I don't always comment on, because honestly, it's none of my business. I'm in my own lane. But some of us need to get rid of that mean girl energy. Let's just call it out for what it is, right? Some of you, well, I'm not going to say some of you. What I've observed within the Phoenix culture is that sometimes there's some mean girl energy where we're promoting women empowerment, but it seems very cliquish. There has to be a certain aesthetic in order for you to be a part of the crew and the group, or whatever the case might be. And that's fine, right? I'm not here to change anybody's mind about how they run their platform, but if that's how you run it, is it really inclusive, right? Just something to think about. Being authentic, being yourself, just showing up as who you are, right? Just stop trying to kind of fit into what you think that girl should look like, or how you think she should behave, and all these other things. Because if it doesn't align with who you are as a person, if it doesn't align with your personality, it doesn't make sense. And so a lot of times people, when I say being authentic in the mean girl energy, some people, some situation that I've seen is that they show up as women empowerment online, but they're not being authentic. So that's what I say when I mean be authentic. Um, Another lesson with working with others, and I think I shared this with someone earlier today. Um, Probably one of the biggest takeaways when we talk about working with others is not being led solely based off emotion or personal relationships. So I was mentioning this before. I'm not saying not to go into business with friends or with family members or whoever the case might be, with spouses, whoever, right? That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if you're going into business with people that you have a personal relationship with, you have to be very strategic with how you move, how you manage a dual relationship, right? Both people have to understand that we're friends, but we're going into business, right? So outside of the friendship, we have a contract in place. Outside of the friendship, you still have a service that you need to provide to me, right? So make sure that when you're making the decision to work with people, make sure that you're using logic. It makes sense business wise, and you're not just going off of it just solely based off of, well, I want to support a friend and I want to do this. Because there's other ways to support people without you necessarily having to put too much on them. And so what I mean by that is, if you have a friend who's just started um her catering business, right? She cooks great food, but she's never cooked for more than maybe 10 people at a time. Just because you know she's a caterer doesn't mean you need to hire her for an event that you're going to have 150 people at, right? Not saying that you shouldn't, but you still want to pay attention to, is this something that she can handle? Is this an event of this magnitude? Is this something that she can handle, seeing that she's just starting off, right? So these are, and maybe it's a conversation that needs to be had, but have those conversations first, right? Before agreeing to go into business or doing business with people solely based off of emotion. Because as women, we can be emotional creatures sometimes. And I will tell you firsthand, sometimes it comes to bite us in the behind, because we were thinking as a friend, we were thinking as a homegirl instead of a business owner. So make sure you're paying attention to that kind of stuff. Pay attention to the red flags. And one of the examples that I used in a previous slide, I was saying, if she's using another example of a caterer. If she's a caterer, she cooks good food, but she's never on time. She Her presentation of how she plates the food isn't on point, right? Pay attention to those things. And I'm not saying not to use this person because of these issues, but these are conversations that you need to have, especially if you have a personal relationship with them. Let them know what you're looking for, to see if that's a goal that they can meet. The not the last one, I think I have a couple more. So the next lesson that I've learned, 7 lessons over the last 7 years, is the importance of mentoring, being coachable. I was very stubborn in the beginning, and my stubbornness got me nowhere, right? Well, it did get me a few places. It got me to burnout, it got me to fatigue, it got me to frustration, it got me to depression. So it did get me some places, but it didn't get me to where I wanted to be and where I should be, right? So make sure that you're coachable, always remaining a student. Um, I, I'm going to share this story with you guys really quick because it just popped up for me. I remember there was a lady who was posting a food plate in one of the Facebook groups that I was in. And I sent her a message, and it wasn't I wasn't being rude or anything like that, but she asked for feedback. That's the thing. She asked for the feedback, and I saw the post, so I decided to reach out to her via inbox, because I didn't want to, because there are other people on the post that weren't being the nicest. So the nicest, they weren't being the most nice. So I decided to reach out to her via inbox, and I was very intentional about how I wrote my message. to convey my point across without trying to offend her, right? Because I was really trying to help her. But nonetheless, I sent the message and I got cussed out. So just, a quick side note, if you're a business owner or a creative who's asking for people's opinions on Facebook, make sure you're able to handle it. Make sure you're actually coachable. Don't be blocking people after you've asked for opinions because you don't like what they had to say, right? If you're not open to being coachable, then it is what it is. I wouldn't recommend it, but I know it's something that happens. But that was one of the things that I had to learn. I had to be coachable. I had to be open to feedback and criticism. Quick story. It was a lady that we've been friends on Facebook for quite some time, but I never met her in public. So she reached out to me and we were messaging each other, and we decided to meet up for like lunch. So we met up for lunch, and at the lunch we start talking about her business and we start talking about BWAZ. And so one of the things she said, she was like, I've heard great things about your event. You always have amazing speakers. It's always really good content, but you never start on time. And that's not good. And for me, I'm not gonna even say I was hurt about it. I wasn't really hurt. I think that was one of the first times that I had heard anybody actually say to me that you don't start your events on time. So when she said it, I'm like, okay. Because it's one of those things, if no one says it, then you don't really address it type thing. So I knew it was something that I was struggling with. So when she said that to me, I knew it was a bigger issue that I had to handle immediately, right? Because she had never been to my events. And even though she heard good things about the speakers and the content and all of that type of stuff, she also heard that I didn't start on time. And so after that lunch meeting, I had to change some stuff on the back end, right? Get additional time from the venue to have time to set up, making sure that I stick to the actual schedule, giving myself grace in between, the itinerary and things like that. So that was one of the takeaways for me. But for some people, if that was told to them, they would have got upset. They would have cussed the person out. They would have did this. They would have did that, right? But I took the advice and I was like, okay, I knew I didn't start my events on time, right? She wasn't telling me anything I didn't know. I just, for whatever reason, I was being stubborn and I just didn't choose to do anything to fix it. So I fixed it, right? For the most part, there's still things that happen that are beyond my control, but I've gotten better with that because during that time, sometimes we'd be like an hour behind schedule, 30 minutes behind schedule. So there are some things that I had to change on the back end in order to start as close to the start time as possible. So that's what I mean by being open to feedback and criticism, always remaining a student and learning from bad feedback, right? On one of the lives that I did previously, I was talking about the lady who got upset because I wasn't able to stand and talk to her more at the event that she came to. And so even though she was really upset, her delivery was way off. Any way you look at it, it was way off. But I still had to, as a business owner, I still had to be able to take away all of the other fluff and get to the core of the issue. She wanted to be able to connect with me more, and I wasn't available to do that because I had 50,000 things going on behind the scenes that I was running around to make sure we're taken care of, right? So being open to bad feedback, and that's what I mean by being open to bad feedback, because we're emotional creatures, right? And a lot of times when we're upset, we include the facts in there, but then we also have the emotion behind how we're feeling, right? So as a business owner, sometimes you have to be able to remove all of that extra fluff, right? And be able to get to the core of the issue that's at hand, right? So for her, she wanted to be able to connect with me more. And I understood that, right? That makes sense. You're coming to an event with people that you've probably never met before. You want to be able to connect with people, or you want to be able to have a conversation with the person coordinating the events, right? So being open to bad feedback. Another thing is removing yes men from your circle. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yes men are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't help you grow. Okay, so there's been times where I've had situations that happened in the past, and I've had people on my team be like, "No, Faye, you're overreacting," or "No, it's you're looking into it too much," or whatever the case might be. But when you're constantly having people who are not calling you out on your BS, who aren't holding you accountable, that's a problem, right? Because we all want to grow, whether you have a business or not, whether you work a 9 to 5 in corporate, whatever the case might be. We all aspire to grow in where whatever area of life. We all aspire to grow. And so when we have people in our corner who are constantly saying yes to us, who aren't calling us out on our BS, what happens is we stay in that same place, right? Because sometimes, even though subconsciously sometimes we know that it's something that might not be the healthiest or might not be the best way to approach things, sometimes if we don't have the right people around us to call us out and to encourage us to move in another direction or to do things a different way, we're going to stay there. And what that translates to in your business is that your business stays the same, right? Because the minute you get bad feedback or any type of criticism, you block the person instead of trying to decipher what it is that they're actually saying, right? Outside of all of the extra stuff, what changes do I need to make as a business owner? And so using this situation as from the lunch date as an example, I was aware that I wasn't starting my events on time. My team told me this as well, right? It wasn't anything that anyone was hiding from me. We all knew I wasn't starting on time, right? But instead of staying there and just figuring out, well, that's just what it is. This is just how I am. Red flag, by the way, which I talked about in a previous slide. Instead of just saying, well, this is just what it's going to be, I took the steps to make the necessary changes, right? So removing yes men, because it strokes the ego, but it does nothing else. I'm gonna move on from that before I say something I shouldn't say on here. Okay, so the next one, the last lesson that I want to talk about tonight is boundaries. So one of the things I think I saw a meme about it on Facebook recently, but it basically said just because I'm online doesn't mean I'm available, right? Probably at any given moment, my status probably says I'm online 24 hours a day. That does not mean I'm available 24 hours a day, right? So making sure that you set up those proper boundaries, enforcing contracts, which we already talked about. I'm gonna share a story with you guys. I've been sharing a lot of stories tonight, but I want to share these stories because I want you guys to understand that 99% of the things that I talk about on here, I've been through, right? I'm not just talking on the side of my neck. So enforcing contracts. I had at one point, I was doing. Okay, well, let me give you backtrack a little bit. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm getting all these notifications on my computer. I hope it's not messing up the sound. So I had a opportunity to work with Toyota a couple years back, right? And they reached out to me because they had some type of initiative that they were doing for Black Business Month, which is in August. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't know August was. There's new holidays and stuff rolling out, and I can't keep up. So I didn't even know what it was, but they reached out to me, and I worked with them in regards to highlighting different Black businesses in different states. So I was helping with the Arizona one. They did them in various states. And so after that, I decided to start doing Black business highlights, because I'm like, I like the concept of this, but I don't want it to only be during August, right? So I started doing Black business highlights where we would do a live stream, basically a live stream interview, right? I ask the person about their business, they tell me about it and all this other stuff. I've done like 3 this week. If you haven't watched them, they're on the Facebook and the YouTube channel and our website. But when I first rolled that program out, it wasn't it was a free service that I was offering, right? So it was for free, because I was trying to, just help who I can, whoever was interested, if you're available, let's do it. So it was a free service that I was offering. There was one lady who booked an interview time. Now I'm going to take you guys behind the scenes just a little bit, because before I go live, there's things that go on before I actually hit the go live button, right? So depending on my day, I have to make sure I plan my day out, depending on what day of the week it is, to make sure I'm available at that time. If I have to move things around, if I have to postpone things, whatever the case might be, right? If I have to wake up earlier than I usually do, I have to do all of those things before I actually sit down and go live with that person. So she scheduled the time. There was a contract that was in place where it said that if they're more than 10 minutes late, it's automatically canceled. They're not able to rebook. She booked it unbeknownst to me. She had a prior engagement, which she didn't let me know about, but she booked it, and apparently she had a prior engagement. So she was late. And I literally sit right by I sit right in front of the computer. If we're scheduled to start at 1, I'm here at 1:01 to give you that extra minute. I'm sitting here, and I will sit here literally for 10 minutes, literally counting down the time on the clock until the person gets there, right? So the 10 minutes come up, she's not there. I think I end up staying like an extra 5 minutes. So we're now at 15 minutes and she's still not there. No type of response, because again, I automatically sent her a reminder about the interview time an hour before we were actually scheduled to meet. So no type of response. I think I even sent her another message through Facebook Messenger. Again, overcrossing boundaries, because I didn't have to do that, but I did it anyway because she was my friend. Well, not my friend, but she was somebody that I knew. So I was just trying to, go above and beyond and make sure I was available for her. No response. So I log off. And of course, I'm upset because I got out of bed. I don't even think I ate breakfast that day, or if I rushed to finish eating before we went because it was in the morning. I had to get dressed. I had to put a bra on. Like it's a lot of stuff, right? I had to prepare myself to be there to support your business. And then I'm here waiting for you and you don't show up. And she sent me a message afterwards, and she was like, I feel like you were wrong for not waiting on me. I had a prior engagement. As a business owner, you should understand that. And it was, I think it was really wrong for you to cancel our meeting. And I typed up a message. I read it back, erased it, then typed up another message. And I basically said that all it took was communication, right? So she was trying to come at me in a way to kind of guilt trip me or feel bad for canceling her event. But I was giving you my time, and you didn't even have the decency to email me and at least say I'm running behind schedule, or can we at a different time, whatever the case might be. And instead you got mad at me for not sitting there for an extra 30 minutes waiting for you to come, right? And so that's what I mean about enforcing the contract, because I could have sat there for 2 hours waiting for her if I wanted to, but I put in the contract that they had 10 minutes. I gave her 15. She still didn't show. And so I enforced what I put in that contract, right? So it could be little things like that, but that's a boundary for me, right? If I make myself available, I have 11 things going on at any given moment. If I make myself available for you, make yourself available for me too, right? And I'm not saying that things don't come up and emergencies don't happen, but all it takes is communication sometimes, right? Just reaching out and letting me know what's going on, so I'm not here in the dark wondering where you're at, right? So enforcing contracts, abiding by your business hours or your time management plan. um, I get emails and DMs throughout the whole night. After 9 p.m., the only people that I could get in on my phone is Bay and my mom. That's it. Right, 9 p.m. is do not disturb. My phone will not even ring for anyone else. I don't get any notifications about text messages, emails, anything else. But that's a boundary that I set, right? Especially because I'm traveling between different time zones. It's a boundary that I have to set. So those little things, um, I encourage you to start doing if you haven't already, right? My time management plan, I talked about this a little bit on a previous live. I have, when I figured out that I was always busy, but I wasn't really accomplishing anything, I literally sat down and created a time management plan. And it's not anything super fancy, it's not anything over the top. It's literally, Monday I do this, Tuesday I do that, Wednesday I do this, Thursday I do this, Friday I do this, Saturday and Sunday is my rest day, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday is my rest day, right? Whatever fits your lifestyle and your schedule, doing those little things will help you. Because what I realized before I started doing this, I was always busy, but I was never actually productive. So a lot of us are really busy, but we're not doing anything productive. And so for me, since I've implemented this, it's helped me become a lot more productive, not only like in my business aspect, but just around the house as well, just more productive all around. Nothing, the amount of stuff that was slipping between the cracks before, um, have decreased by at least like 50%, right? So I'm able to be more in the moment, make sure things are taken care of. I'm not having to rush to do things. Create some type of time management plan. And I know they can get really more in depth as far as how your day should look, how many hours you spend doing this and doing that. So you can make it as in depth as you want. But for me, just having a day a week, the days of the week, and what I plan on doing during those days works amazing for me. Um, the bonus lesson that I've learned that I wanted to share with you guys on here is being a good leader. Um, a lot of us are business owners, and even if we are in business by ourselves, or even if you have even if you're like a co-owner, you still need to be a good leader. And I don't think it's something that we talk about enough as far as what are at least some of the qualities of a good leader. So one of the things that I've learned is helping your team grow within their own business, right? A lot of us who are business owners, we hire people or we outsource work or we have contractors, things like that. A lot of times these people have their own business. So if they're part of your team, why wouldn't you want to see them grow, right? But I've seen it happen, and that's that might be part of the mean girl energy that I was talking about before. But don't be a leader that's trying to stifle the growth of the people on your team, right? Because just as you elevate, you can help them elevate. As they elevate, they can help you elevate as well. Because just think about it: you have if you have someone on your team who helps you with creating emails for your subscribers, right? And they send emails out to your subscribers on a month-to-month basis. But now they're learning how to implement automation and different types of campaigns to send out for your email subscribers. Now, because they've learned that new skill set, they can implement that into your business now, right? And so for you on the back end, that might look like a higher open rate. That might look like more sales for you, right? That might look like more your list is growing faster than it was before, right? And so the same with a leader. So the more that you're able to elevate those around you, the more that you're able to elevate, because if it's a healthy situation and relationship, you're able to rub off on each other, right? We're able to put each other on, teach each other different things, right? So um, helping your team grow in their own businesses, being able to identify strengths within your team. Um, for those who have ever like worked with me, like on, I don't want to say, yeah, basically on every level. I'm a very detailed oriented person. And so for my team, I'm not looking for everyone on my team to be detail oriented, right? Because I pay attention to the little things, but I need someone that could come in and help me pay attention to the bigger things, right? And so I have people on my team, they're not going to pay attention to like the specific font that I use on the menus that I'm putting on the table, but they might be able to help me with the AV equipment. They might be able to help me with setting up the table. They might be able to help me with the seating chart, right? So being able to identify the strengths within your team is extremely important, because that way everyone on your team feels important, right? Everyone on your team feels appreciated. Everyone on your team is happy, right? Nobody wants to work with anyone that if they're not happy, especially when we're talking about our specific business. We want to work with people that we're happy to work with. And so if you as a leader, if you're not paying attention to the strength that the people on your team have, you can put them in a position where it looks like they're failing or they're not good at what they're doing, but that might not necessarily be the case. It might just be that the place that you put them in doesn't align with who they are as a person. It doesn't match their personality, right? So pay attention to the strengths that your team has and make sure that you're putting people in the right places. Um, and showing appreciation to your team offline, right? I had somebody on my team whose birthday was a while ago. I sent her a gift. I didn't even tell her I was sending her anything. I just sent it to her because, you know, the Facebook posts are cute. The messages on the walls are nice. The tags are nice. But because it's social media and it could be a little vain sometimes doing things outside of social media and just being in the moment with that person without having to tell the public, oh yeah, I brought her this, or she got me this, or we did this. Sometimes it makes the moment a little bit more special. Okay, so that is it, you guys. So those are the 7 lessons that I've learned in the last 7 years. I feel like this live is a lot longer than I had anticipated, but I try to keep this list as short as possible because we could have literally been on here all night. But I wanted to share some of the lessons I've learned throughout the year because I don't want to. I want to make it look easy, but then I also want to make it look realistic, right? I want people to know that yes, I've been doing this for quite some time, but I'm far from perfect, right? I'm 7 years in the game, and I went through a situation that I didn't even anticipate, right? It was something that I didn't think would happen to me because I've been in the game for so long, right? So you're always in a area to learn and grow. And so that's why I wanted to do this live, because I wanted to share this information with you, because sometimes when we see things on social media, it's like, oh, it looks like this, it must be easy. It's not. Okay, it's not. It's not as hard as it was before because I've made some changes, but it's not easy, right? I don't ever want to give anyone the notion that running events, hosting events and running a women's platform is easy. It's not, but I want you to know that it's still possible, right? Even if you're not doing something similar to mine, whatever business you're in, it might not necessarily be easy, but that isn't to say it's not worth it, right? Before I go, I just want to thank everyone. I already sent it out to my email list, but I wanted to thank everyone who has ever supported me. We've done a lot of different things within the last 7 years. The community service we've done, the fundraiser campaigns that I've ran that you women have helped me with, people who've come to my events, people who have helped me with my events, people who have paid to come to my events and end up being up on the cleanup crew because they just wanted to be able to help me. I really appreciate it, you guys, because I'm not gonna lie, I've never gotten to a point where I'm saying I'm just going to stop and I'm never gonna do this again. But there's definitely been some trying times. There's been tears, there's been blood, there's been sweat, there's been all of those things behind the scenes. But I really keep going because of not only the the tribe in the community that I've been able to grow within my personal life, but because I've been able to see how it's helped each and every one of you ladies that are part of this platform. So I really appreciate it. I hope I will see you guys on Saturday. I don't know how many tickets are left, guys, but if you are coming to the meet and greet, that is basically the celebration of this platform, right? We do it annually. We come dressed up in African attire. I shared a sneak peek of my dress on my stories a couple of days ago. But just come out and network with people, meet new people. I shared the meme a few weeks ago. A lot of you say you want to connect with people, but you don't want to leave the house. You don't, the people can't come to your door, right? They can't come into your living room. You have to take that first step. So I hope to see you guys this Saturday at 8. It's going to be in Phoenix. I think near Biltmore Fashion Square. So if you haven't purchased your tickets yet, be sure to do so. Next week, we will be going live. It's not going to be on Wednesday. It's actually going to be on Thursday because I have a special announcement that I'm going to be making next Thursday, and I am going to have a guest with me. So I hope to see you guys next Thursday. I'm a few people away from getting to my goal for my YouTube subscribers. So if you can go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, I would definitely appreciate it. But that's it from me, you guys. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to love you and leave you. And I will see you next Thursday at 6 p.m. Have a good night. Bye, guys.